You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RBLR Lightning. As always, my name is Joe Dicker. Alongside me, it's Joe Gomez. Matt is on vacation right now, but he will be back soon. Guys, welcome to the show. I should say, Joe, welcome to the show. We're in full swing of hockey season being back, and I could not be happier. We got preseason games to talk about, rosters getting cut down. There's a lot of exciting news to get to. I know all of you in the comments who are joining us live here. We appreciate you hopping on here. Are excited to talk some hockey. But first and foremost, before we get into all the preseason fun, Joe, how you doing today, my friend?
Doing well. Yeah, we have hockey to talk about for the first time in however many months. We actually have games that have been played. It feels surreal. It feels like this has been forever in waiting. So yeah, doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Hockey's back. I'm good to go. So baseball season just wrapped up for me. That means it's full go on hockey. So I'm very happy to be back and ready to go. And by the way, Daniel, you kind of made me think of this. He just threw a comment. Says, "Going to have to edit the new intro with the benchmark arena." You're right, because we still have Emily in that intro. And I did see, I've driven by Emily a couple of times. They have, I don't know if they finished yet. I know they finished it on the front. Emily is gone, and the benchmark sign is up. It's funny. It actually looks a little nicer than Emily did, because Emily had that red color, which obviously just doesn't really fit with the Bolts in their blue, black, and silver colors. And Benchmark is basically just black and silver. So it kind of matches the exterior a little bit nicer. It still does long, but it does look a little nicer.
It feels super corporate, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it does look a little bit better, I suppose, because the red did stand out. But yeah, it definitely feels super corporate. But we'll see how that goes. We're gonna have to figure out a nickname for it, because I don't know if anyone's come up with anything catchy yet, but that's a mouthful to get through.
Actually, I think about it. You weren't here when me and Matt were talking a lot about this in that announcement. There have been a couple different nicknames. One of the most common ones I've seen is the Bench. I'm not a crazy fan of that one. Me and Matt kind of settled on just calling it Benchmark Arena and just dropping the international part of it. And I've seen a couple other ones that I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I can't remember, but the Bench is the most common one I've seen.
So
for
that
me,
one
I'm going
catch.
Benchmark Arena.
Yeah, that one will probably catch. I mean, it kind of works. I just don't like it because it might be too close to a reference that is used in hockey. Talking about the bench.
See, and that's exactly why I don't like it. So I'm with you there. Oh, Daniel reminds me of what it was. BIA. So people just say BIA, which isn't bad.
You pronounce that BIA?
That sounds really weird. I don't know if I'd pronounce it. Listen, Daniel said, look, he said Benchmark Arena. So I mean, if you ask me, Benchmark Arena is already catching on. That's the one I'm going with. But the signage is going up at formerly known as Emily Arena. So exciting to see. But Joe, let's talk about some of the hockey. By the way, if you're all joining with us here live, don't forget, you've seen some people jump up in the comments here. Throw your comments down below. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on any of the topics we talk about today. Join the conversation. If you're watching later on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Ring that bell for notifications so you do know when we go live, and follow us on social media so you can join the conversation with us here. But let's talk about some hockey and what's been going on in this preseason. The big elephant in the room right now is a lot of people are talking about the absences of Andrei Vasilevskiy and now Victor Hedman. Hedman, who did play in a preseason game but got a little banged up. He left the game, never returned, and has missed the last couple of practices now. Vasilevskiy we've known about for a while, but Cooper does expect him to be back. I think people were expecting Vasy to be at practice yesterday. I can't remember what day it is still at this point. And they didn't see him there, so there's a little bit of a concern there for Vasilevskiy and Hedman right now.
I mean, I think it's kind of like the elephant in the room. They haven't said too much in terms of what's going on. Just that everything will be all right, and the organization is definitely one that keeps things kind of mum when it comes to injuries. Doesn't say too much unless there is a surgery that's pending or that has taken place, then they'll go ahead and release that information. But I don't know. It's never reassuring when you've got two guys that are so critically important to the defensive aspects of the Lightning's game, both not playing and then them not really saying too much. For Vasy, we know that he's had multiple issues in the past with a couple of different things, but most notably that back surgery that he had. Was that 2 years ago now? It wasn't last year, right?
I think it was 2 years ago. Man,
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, it certainly does, right? And hopefully it's not something where he's got he re-herniated one of those discs, because that'll be terrible to play through, and I don't know anything more about it. But, I mean, how can you not talk about it and be a little bit concerned?
Yeah, no, it's definitely understandable. I, for one, this is one of the nice things about having such a trusted organization and a coach that if they tell me not to worry, I usually don't, because we know how this organization runs, which is very nice to have. Not every franchise gets that. Also, you look across the street, to our rivals, the Florida Panthers, who have lost two of their players now for a very long time. Their captain, Barkov, he's out for 7 to 9 months, which is basically the entire season. That is just a brutal loss for a team to lose two big stars like that. And with Vasy and Hedman, it's understandable that you start to panic. Here is some updates, though, from Gabby Shirley after talking to John Cooper after practice today. Cooper did confirm Vasilevsky did skate today, earlier today. It was not with the main group. That's why a lot of the press did not see it, and it was not reported. He said it was a promising day for him. You will very likely see him tomorrow. So that's great news. And again, Cooper has stated that he expects Vasilevsky to be ready to go for the season opener. He said he's going to miss the next 2 games. There's 3 preseason games left. There's a possibility he could play in the last one. We will see. And then on the status of Hedman and Holmberg as well, who has missed a couple of practices, they were also not skating with the main group today. Definitely not playing tomorrow. But for me, not threats for later in the week. That was from Cooper. So Cooper's update's all good, saying that they're fine, basically, and we'll see them at some point.
I mean, good to hear. It's just you can't help but get nervous as the season's just beginning when you see an injury or two. It's horrible to hear what happened to Barkov. The cynic in me hopes that if he really is out for a season, they don't utilize that to circumvent the cap again, and he just happens to get better just in time for playoffs.
When is that new rule coming into effect?
Next season.
Next season?
It's not this season. It's next season.
I know they changed it. I couldn't remember when it was.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that they're playing games, but if they take advantage of an injury like that, it'd be kind of a shame for the rest of the league, and obviously don't want Barkov's one of those players that's really easy to respect and not develop hatred for. He's a good, solid player. He's not one of the dirty ones out there. So, yeah, man, the season as it comes in, I can see that maybe we're making or at least I am making a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to our injuries and just playing it super safe, because it is a really long season, and no sense in playing a guy that's got a little bit of an ailment.
Absolutely. And I get people are concerned too with Vasilevsky because he did have that back injury, and you're not going to see him yet. Is he going to be 100% at the start of the season? Again, Cooper has not indicated anything that would be an issue. And I remember watching one of the broadcasts, Braden Coburn was on during one of the periods, and they asked him about, what it's like for some guys and using these preseason games to get ready. And Coburn talked about how for some guys, they want to play as many games as they can. That was Braden Coburn. He wanted to play as many games as possible. But for other guys, sometimes you just need to play one game and you're good to go. So I don't know which one Vasilevsky is. I like to think he's a pretty big competitor, and one game he'd be ready to go. So hopefully he gets a shot at one of those preseason games, and that will certainly help. But again, at least from Cooper, nothing to be overly concerned about. He's ready to go for the opener. I do want to bring up a comment here from Daniel, because I think this transitions us perfectly into the preseason games. Said really should have acquired a better backup than JJ. I don't know about you, Joe, and what you've seen from these preseason games, but JJ has actually looked, I think, really solid. in a lot of these preseason games that he's played in. Specifically, I think it was the first game.
The Hurricanes game.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. He made a lot of really nice saves, really shut down. And again, it's preseason, I get it, but I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he was. I have his stats up right now. He made 29 saves on 30 shots in that game, and he looked good. He looked solid. He looked like everything you'd want your backup goalie to be, right? It's someone that you can depend on back there. I don't know about spending more money, to get somebody else. In the second game, he played about half the game, right, or 2 periods against Carolina. The second meeting with them, and he had 17 shots on with 1 goal allowed for a .941 save percentage. So that's still pretty good. You want to keep that in that range. So I mean, yeah, he's looking good, and I think he's proven in the past few years that he's got what it takes to be able to be a good backup for us. He's not going to win us the Stanley Cup or anything, but
no,
I'm not sure that I would want to spend money on another backup. But maybe I'll be proved wrong on that one if we do end up having some issues.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we don't have to worry about that anytime soon. But I was impressed with him, and it's good to see because the Lightning have not had a really solid backup for the last little bit. Quick comment here too. Beverly says pretty sure that rule was overturned and it is infected this season. You might.
That's in terms of the salary cap
being compliant for the playoffs. Which, if that's the case, that's a big blow for the Panthers because then they cannot really fill that spot. I don't even know what you do there in that situation because
okay, so that she's right. That's for the
for this year.
For these playoffs. Yep.
Okay, well there we go.
The current CBA expires at the end of this season, but the cap compliance does come in. So I stand corrected there. It does come in for these playoffs.
Well, that's a big blow to the Florida Panthers because you can't really you can't go out and acquire a player for nothing and put guy in LTIR because they come back for the playoffs.
On capwages.com, there's an article talking about it, and they're the full breakdown of the playoff salary cap for these playoffs. There's keynotes, and then there's an example, and a great example of this scenario came in the 2021 season where the Tampa Bay Lightning placed Nikita Kucherov on LTIR for the entire season due to hip surgery. His recovery was perfectly timed for him to return Game 1 of the playoffs. Since Kucherov's $9.5 million cap hit was on LTIR, the Lightning were able to re-sign key players as well as bring in players such as the great David Savard at the trade deadline to bolster their lineup. In the playoffs, the Lightning iced a lineup which at the time was over the regular season salary cap.
So they're not going to mention Vegas, but they'll mention ours because we're okay. I mean, that's
we're a perfect example. I love as well as bringing in players such as David Savard.
Listen, David Savard was great, but I wouldn't call him like a premier player or anything like that. I mean,
the difference maker.
Would have been better ones to reference there, but
yeah, fair.
Yeah, so let's talk about more of those preseason games. Talked about JJ there, but Joe 4-0. 4-0 for the Lightning to start in the preseason. And again, I know it's just preseason, but it always feels nice to win those games and be 4-0. And I do think there have been a lot of young players that have really impressed. One of them being Dominic James. He's been really good. Some of these names I'm still getting used to pronouncing, and I know our broadcast crew is also getting used to pronouncing them again. But Abruzzese, I think it is. Abruzzese. He has been really solid.
Abruzzese. It's a nice
okay.
It's a nice Italian last name there.
He's been really good, and there's one other which I'm currently blanking on right now who it was, but there have been a couple of young guys that have really impressed me in the start.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's I mean, Gergensen's getting 2 goals in that game against Carolina was kind of nice. I was kind of joking with some buddies that hopefully he doesn't have this outstanding preseason statistical run like Nemestikov had a few years back. He had 8 goals or something in preseason, then didn't score again until December.
Yeah. And then got traded.
Yeah, right. So I mean, Gergensen is fighting for a spot right now. I think he's got to prove himself to stay on this roster because there is a few names here with some talent that could come in and potentially replace him. So him putting up a couple of goals is really important. I went to the game against the Predators. What was that?
Oh, nice.
Saturday night. Yeah, and got to watch a few guys, and there were a couple of standouts. I really liked seeing. I think the line was Chafee, Goncalves, and who was with them? I think I think maybe Gord was with them. And they're playing really, really well together. Some great passing, and they looked good. Like they could be like a really great lower line. Goncalves looked like he could play. Maybe break the top six if he continues playing the way he was. So there's definitely some options, and I love that everyone's sitting here fighting for a spot.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And especially with Nick Paul being out for a little bit for the Lightning, there's going to be a spot available to see some multiple guys making an impact. And John Cooper did say in one of his press conferences that he thinks this is one of the most impressive groups that he's seen from the Lightning in a while, which is fantastic to hear, especially considering we know the Lightning's depth is the right word, or prospect pool, that's the word I'm looking for, isn't the greatest because the Lightning have used a lot of the first-round picks to acquire guys to help them win Stanley Cups, which we all know is a very good price to pay when you win. So to hear that from the coaching staff is really nice to hear. So I've been impressed. You're 4-0, which is fantastic. It's just fun to have. It doesn't end up meaning anything. Now we get the next 3 games here against the Florida Panthers. We always know these games are entertaining. By the way, Connor Geekie has already been in a fight in the preseason game. This guy loves to fight during the preseason to make his name known. And Joe Geekie's another interesting guy because you look at him as, he was with the Lightning at the start of the season last year, really made a name for himself in the preseason, but then got sent down back to the AHL, never really came back up. And you wonder what he's going to do this year.
This is going to be a really important year for Geekie in my mind. He's got a real big body. He's 21 years old, 6'4", 212 pounds. He can fly out there. He's not afraid to throw his body, and he's one of those guys that when you look at him play, and he looks like he's out there just having fun. The downside to that, however, and what I worry about is that maybe he's having too much fun, and he really needs to get the discipline thrown into his game and more emphasis on it, because there are quite a few things that you'll see with his play that, for instance, in the Predators game, he took 2 really bad penalties. They're just completely unnecessary and sloppy penalties. He also can be quite sloppy defensively when he's on the defensive side of the puck. So if he can clean those things up, he had 52 games played, 14 total points with 8 goals, and those were definitely some highlight goals because it's exciting when he shoots and scores. He's got one hell of a shot. I really think he needs to clean up though that those errors and mistakes away from the puck.
Yeah, that's a great point. And penalties have been a little bit of an issue. That's probably the one biggest thing I've noticed in this preseason where I say, all right, guys, let's rein in the penalties here. There have been a lot in the preseason. I think Roman Schmidt specifically has taken a lot of penalties himself. I don't know the exact number, but you have to be good defensively. What was the biggest thing JBB did last year to help this team try and compete better was improve their plus-minus category and being a better defensive team. So,
bring in McDonough. which is right to your point of what what you're saying.
So Geekie definitely needs to be better defensively. I'm excited to see what he can do, though. I would be surprised if he doesn't have a shot out of the gate here again to make an impact and be a.
I think he's going to get I think he's going to get a shot, but I also think this is an opportunity that if he squanders, he's going to really regret because they'll send him down, and it might be a while until he gets another look. He's got tons of upside, but he's really got to prove it this time around.
No, I 100% agree with you, especially when we've had a lot of players that have made impacts and shown that, hey, maybe they could deserve a shot at some point this year. By the way, the other player I was thinking of, and I got the pronunciation kind of, I'm going to try this. It's Stoviak. He has been really good in this preseason as well. So there's really 3 forwards that I've really liked what I've seen. Again, we're not going to see all of them to start the season. Maybe they'll get their shots later on, but there's been definitely 3 guys that have made an impact and made the coaching staff think a little bit on what they're going to do here for the start of the season. Comment here from Beverly asking about Roman Schmidt fighting with Hagel. Yes, there was that went down where Schmidt and Hagel got into it a little bit during one of the practices, had to be broken up with all the players. And it's funny, Joe, I don't know about you, but I feel like you always see this, whether it's NFL, NHL, any sport, always in the preseason, there's always talk about some team getting into a fight with each other. It happens all the time. I don't take much away from it. Listen, these guys are competitive guys. And the Lightning, I think, understand that these last couple of years have not been good. They've been very big disappointments and exiting in the first round. So they got some chip on their shoulder this year. I think that's more true than in years past when they've said it. So, but I don't take anything away from it is that this is bad. The team's upset with each other. The chemistry is not there. I think this shows more passion than anything. You don't want to see it, but it's not a major concern.
I mean, I don't even know that I would label it as something you don't want to see personally. I mean, it's not something I would strive to, create environment, but I don't think it's that big of a deal because as long as it's something that stays on the ice, doesn't make it back to the bench or, off ice, then that's just, passion for the play and maybe even a little bit of correction in terms of what they're expecting out there. It's not that big of a deal, and it's even friends on the ice will get into it without a doubt. So I don't read anything into that other than like passion is high, and that's there's no doubt that Hagel has a fiery side.
Yes, he does.
So it's maybe even a good thing, seeing that he's bringing it into the preseason. He'll be ready to fly when the full season comes around.
Hagel was one of the guys that spoke during the media day and basically saying, like, listen, we've been bad the last couple of years. We can't exit in the first round, and we need to be better. So, again, you can say a lot of things until you put it actually into action. And what happens at the start of the regular season here, none of that matters. But at least nice to hear that stuff at the beginning.
Yeah. It's almost a terrible thing. You watch USF football at all? Just to bring in an outside reference here.
I've watched a little bit of it. I keep my eye on college football.
They had so they had that big 2 big upsets to start the season. Then they beat the Gators and they went in to play Miami and like, wow, they're doing really well. And they gave you the worst thing. They gave you hope that maybe they'd be able to pull that one out, right? And everything was stacked against them, and obviously they really, really didn't. That's one thing that the Lightning seems to be able to give their fans every single season, though. They give you hope, and maybe I'm setting myself up for massive disappointment later down the line, but I'm very hopeful for what they have going on this season. I think that, like was mentioned, it's a pretty deep roster.
Listen, what is sports without a little bit of hope at the beginning of the season? Where's the fun if you don't have any of that hope? So I'll certainly take it. By the way, Daniel corrected me here. It's future captain. Yes, you're absolutely right.
I can't talk about Hagel's like fiery personality without thinking of literally that line.
I'm such a big fan of Brandon Hagel. I'm so happy he got brought here to Tampa. I think he's been one of the best acquisitions in Lightning history. He's very close to that. Obviously, there's some big ones with Vasilevsky and all that fun stuff, and Bishop even too. But really, really nice acquisition for the Lightning here. Got another question. Let's throw this up here as well. Daniel, where do you guys stand on the hope meter? Feel like that they're destined for another first-round exit? Well, you guys know me. I'm a hopeless romantic, as they might call it, or a crazy diehard and rose-colored glasses, whatever you want to say. So my hope is always high, and the team is not crazily different as roster buildup goes from what it looked like last year. So at least on paper, it doesn't change much, but I do truly believe I've liked what I've seen from this preseason. Again, I get it's only preseason. I've liked what they've said at the beginning here. So that gives me a lot more hope. And I would really like to believe these guys are going to bounce back as long as Nikita Kucherov doesn't win the Art Ross trophy. That is the only thing that really concerns me, because for whatever reason, Kucherov, when he wins the Art Ross, disappears in the playoffs. But I truly do believe that this team will be able to make an impact in the playoffs, unlike last year.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to a matchup. Naturally, you could get the hottest team in the league, or you could end up playing somebody that barely squeaked in and is already on their ninth live of for the season. So I don't know what sort of team we're going to have yet. It's in terms of what we saw in preseason thus far and the hype based around the team, I feel good that we'll get through the first round. I think that every single player on this team, that is like the main goal is, almost like Toronto in years past, where their Stanley Cup a couple of years ago was beating us to get to the second round because they hadn't done that in so long.
Yep.
That's where this team, I don't think that they're going to let themselves down for the first round. In terms of depth, it's just too early to tell. But yeah, I mean, on paper they look pretty good. I mean, even though we got some guys getting a little bit older, Kucherov's still going to be a guy that's going to put up. I mean, I don't see him putting up 90. You know what I mean? Like less than. I don't see him putting up less than 90. He's still going to have tools to work with to be able to dish the puck. We're getting, if you look at what we've had the past few years in terms of our third and fourth lines, they've traditionally been like larger shutdown lines, and we're starting to slim them down, getting them faster and faster to be more high pressure lines. And that's what won us the cup, was having third and fourth lines that could give a lot of pressure and put some speed in there. So, I mean, I'm feeling good for the season. I don't know about a deep playoff run yet, but I'm feeling pretty good for the season that they'll be towards the top of the rankings.
Yeah, I'm with you. And to be fair, at the end of the day, as we all know, once you get a ticket to the dance, anything can happen. You really just never know once you get to the playoffs. That's a long ways away. You never know what's going to happen at the trade deadline, injuries, all that kind of stuff. Beverly's ready. Very excited about this season. I think we're going to do it. I see Hagel carrying the cup. I love it, Beverly. I love the confidence. I would be very pleased to see that. Joe, we've been talking a lot about new looks, with Amalie getting a new look, turning into Benchmark International Arena. Of course, you guys can get your new look over on shop.rblrsports.com, which you can be sure to go check out all the awesome team-inspired merch that we have over there for you guys. And you can use code BOLTS to get 10% off your order. Lightning, Bucks, Rays, Rowdies, Sun, team-inspired merch. We've got it. Be sure to go check that out. Links, as always, are in the description. But we also have a brand new look for the Lightning broadcast, which, I don't believe you were with us when we first talked about this, but we've gotten to see it in action. I got my subscription set up for this season. I'll be streaming games through the Lightning app. That's how I'm going to be watching games, because unfortunately they are not with YouTube TV. Hopefully later down the line they'll be able to get that. But your thoughts on the new look for the Lightning here with Script Sports?
I actually haven't really seen it.
You not seen it yet?
Nope. The two games that I saw were the away broadcasts. Then I was at the one game, and for the was it the Hurricanes game, I wasn't able to. I think I had my game. I had a game that I was skating on the ice during that one, so I didn't get
better to be in the building though. So I'm glad you got to watch that game in person.
Yeah, but if you're using the app, there is a subscription fee of like $66 for the year or something like that.
Yes, that is correct. So basically the way this is going to work, and the Lightning released a lot more information the last time we had talked about it, and you can get it free over the radio waves by buying a $30 antenna on Amazon or whatever and putting that on your TV if you want to go that route, and getting it for free. Technically, I guess you could say it cost you $30 because you got to buy that, but you get that for free. It is on a lot of the cable channels we went over last time, because you can get Lightning games Tampa, Orlando, Gainesville, Tallahassee. I think there's one other one that I can't remember. There's a couple different spots. Mm-hmm. They're on 90% of the cable companies that are available in those areas. And then you can also stream it through the Lightning, their website. They also now have an app that you can get on Apple TV, Fire Stick, whatever, any smart TV really. So they have their own app. And then you can also watch it on your phone just through the Lightning regular app. and it is $66 for the entire season. So it works out to about $1 per game, which isn't bad. 66 is for a year.
That's cheaper than it's cheaper than Bally's or whatever it was, because that was like $20 a month if I remember correctly. Wasn't that like $19.99 a month?
It was.
Or even if it was $15 a month, it was still more than 4 months. So you have to pay up front, but it's cheaper.
I think you can get the full year for like 160, something like that.
160 for the full year of the Bally's, or
correct for Bally's. So this is definitely cheaper at the end of the day. I will say this: I've experimented with a little bit. I have not found a limit on how many devices can be watching the game at the same time, which is great. So far, that's been happy for me.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, I do know this for a fact too. If you sign up for a subscription through the streaming service and then you go out of market, you cannot watch the game. So if you have a subscription in Tampa and then you go to, let's just say, Colorado,
you
cannot watch the game
in the coverage area. Yeah, and
correct.
At that point, it'd be taken over by the NHL.TV, right?
It would be just on. You have to watch through like ESPN Plus, basically.
Oh, so if you're out of area and you have ESPN Plus, you should be able to watch it?
Yes. Okay. You should be able to watch it through ESPN Plus, which is nice. So it's, for me, mostly very, very good, and it has so much potential here. I would still really like to see them get on YouTube TV, Hulu Live TV, DirecTV Stream, because a lot of people today just have those services, and to be able to be on those.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice. And I get it. And the Lightning, at the end of the day, don't make that decision. It's got to be through YouTube TV and Script Sports. But I'm still hopeful to see that, because it would be nice.
Yeah. So you're saying like for free, essentially, it'd be just
it'd be included in your base package, because that's a local channel. It's free over the radio waves. So I wouldn't expect that to be an add-on. That would be pretty ridiculous.
Makes sense. Sure. But I still love the fact that it's OTA. That's the way I love watching Bucks games that way, and I like it. I have a house with an attic, so if you have a house with an attic, you get one of those really large, like 5-foot antennas. You mount it to one of your studs in the attic, and then you just point it in the direction of most antennas, which pretty much is towards Brandon, if I'm not mistaken. And then almost every single house is pre-wired for cable TV. You just hook the antenna into your cables, like if you had cable TV, instead of it being the input from the cable company. And then you've got the OTA for all the channels that you have in your house. And if you have smart devices, then you're just streaming everything else for what you're watching.
Yeah, overall, really nice. Lots of options for people. Like, again, if you're out of market, ESPN Plus is the way to go. The national games are a little bit different, but that's how it is. There's still that regional sports stuff, but at the end of the day, for the most part, it's very good. The only thing I've been kind of against is hopefully they will get, and they have said that they're hoping to get those kind of deals done with like YouTube TV and stuff like that. So I said this in the last episode. I know you can go on if you have YouTube TV or Hulu or whatever. Usually there's a spot like on YouTube TV, you can go to the feedback and you can request that kind of channel for them to get that. So hopefully that will be there one day. I will also say too, so for the look of this new thing for the Lightning on this new channel, I'm a little conflicted. So listen, it's new. There's going to be bugs. There's lots of work out. By the way, the nicest thing, Joe, I know
I heard you guys talking about bugs.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't even call it bugs. I was going to say, though, the nicest thing is I know me and you always complained about with Bally how when it went to the pregame show, you had to like exit the app, go back in. Don't have to do that anymore. It just transitions into one thing, which is fantastic. But
when you and Matt talking about in our chat, the bugs, the actual display of the scores?
The score bug. Yes, the score bug. Overall, I think it's an improvement, no question, from the FanDuel one or Bally one, because I hate in hockey the one down low. It's covering the puck. It should be in the top left, which is where it is now, and I think it's great. It's a little weird though, because I think it's a little big. Also, basically, so this would be really hard to do, but if you've seen it, there's the two logos, and then there's the time, but each one is separated as its own. It's not like one. Like if you look really closely in between, you can see the background.
Yeah,
which is, I don't know why they did
that.
Like
off by a pixel.
Yeah, just push it all together and make it one thing. I don't know why they did that. It drives me crazy. Also, if you look at the logos in those boxes, there's like 2 white lines on the top and the bottom, which is also really weird. Like, just have the logo. I don't know what the white lines are there for. That's stuff
it's
that
somebody just working on those assets, I'm sure, that just didn't put them in properly, or like
Yes.
like little kinks that they threw it all together, and then they're like, all right, we'll revisit this.
And I do expect them down the road to keep tweaking this and making it better. But the overall, it's very good. It's also weird when there's a delayed penalty. It's like a drop down, and it's like a whole nother line. It's way too big. It's too much. They need to fix that. The gold standard for me, and Michael said this in our chat, but TNT, I think, has one of the best score bugs in hockey. So that's the goal. Again, shots are on this. Time is on this. The logos are on this. It's in the top left. So this is a massive improvement for me from what we came from. So I'm very happy about that. One thing that does bother me, and this is going to get into, you guys know I talk about this all the time and how much ads drive me nuts. And this is why. I know. But they are putting in ads on the score bug where it kind of pops out to the side. And I've seen the advertisement for during power plays. I don't know about penalty kills. Power plays in the last minute of a game, and it stays up the entire time. And it is massive. And it takes up a lot of space. And it drives me crazy. It's too much.
Was it like TNT or someone that had an ad that would pop up, and it'd be literally like a guy skate? It was like it's like a guy skating, and then he'd like do a hockey stop, and a little snow would come up, and it'd show like at the bottom, like this time is what time the next show is, or like the post game show or something like that.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You remember that? It looked like someone just all of a sudden was skating into the play. It's really obnoxious. I mean, tomorrow night's the next game, and that one looks like it is broadcast, so I'll be sure to check it out and
all the rest of the
preseason
preseason games are going to be broadcast on the Lightning's new channels. So,
all right, well, let's talk about those remaining preseason games, man. We got 3 left and 3 against Florida. So, what are you feeling?
Listen, I'm feeling great because the Lightning are 4-0 right now, and everybody has really impressed me. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how things go for the Lightning here now that we're playing the Panthers. We know this is a rivalry. These teams do fight each other. One of those games, by the way, is in Orlando. They always played that one game in partnership with the Solar Bears down at is it the Kia Center now? I believe it's the Kia Center. So that game is happening down in Orlando. That's always a fun one. I'm looking forward to it because it is against the Panthers, and the Lightning have been playing so good. Those players I mentioned earlier, especially guys like Dominic James, I'm excited to see what they can do if they can keep up their great start.
I'd say for any fans watching, definitely take specific note. Don't worry too much about our all-stars, their preseason games. We know what they're going to do, but take really specific note of guys like Geekie, Chafee, and see what Goncalves, see what these guys end up doing to earn a spot and the sort of plays that they're making, and pay attention to both sides of the puck. It's really impressive when they get on a 3-on-2 rush, make a couple of really nice passes, but that's so rare in terms of what happens in the flow of the game. They might get that opportunity once or twice a game where anytime that they're on the ice, they're going to have to play smart defensively. They're going to have to make sure that when they're forechecking and cycling, that they're paying attention to their positioning and working well together. So be sure to check those sort of things out in these next games, and it'll be telling who's going to make the squad.
As you saw there, Beverly said tomorrow is Orlando. So there you go. Next game in Orlando. And then I believe it's in Tampa and then in Sunrise, if I'm not mistaken. So 3 more games to go here against the Panthers. Joe, you're absolutely right. The biggest thing to pay attention to right now is the younger guys. They're the ones competing for a spot. You still want to see your superstars do well and just get back into that game rhythm, but you can't put too much stock into it. Real quick, I found quick pictures. There's the score bug. I don't know if this is going to focus.
Yeah, no, that comes in. It looks like there's a little bit of an ad to the right side.
Yeah, yep, that's the ad I'm talking about. And then
that's the one that you're, I mean, not to throw you under, but that's the one you're complaining about?
Well, it's not much as, listen, the thing with me and ads is, because remember I said this, is I'm like, listen, I get it's a one little ad, but where does it stop? Where does it stop, Joe? They keep putting ads on it.
Slippery slope, damn it.
It's a slippery slope. No, it's listen, there's worse. And the power play time you see over there too, that goes away and will come in only on a power play. So normally the time there's a lot of white negative space there a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's what it looks like. Also, if anybody's curious, this is the intermission disc that they built. It looks a little, what's the word here? Budget friendly is kind of the way I think about it. But
it reminds me of a table that like children would have in a kid's room. It just doesn't look like the scale just doesn't quite look right.
It's also a little small for 3 people.
Yeah.
It's more of a 2-person desk than a 3-person desk. But again, listen, there's going to be bugs. I'm sure they're continuing to improve this stuff, and they will get better. Hopefully, they'll listen to people and the reactions online. But overall, very excited and looking forward to it. So
Eureka's cracking me up in chat.
He's making fun of me, isn't he? Yes, I'm against capital. Well, listen, Eureka, again, I get it. You need ads, need money, but it's a slippery slope. I'm going to find a picture of a hockey game broadcasted for like 5 years ago and one now and how different. I'm telling you, there are so many ads nowadays. It's too much. Stop it. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm looking forward to the rest of these preseason games. It's been a really great start. Joe, it's been fantastic talking to you about Lightning hockey. I'm super excited. I think that's going to do it for us in this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in once again here. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Hit that share button if you did enjoy this video. It really helps us out. And ring that bell for notifications so you know when we do go live next time. You can join the conversation. But with that said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Go Bolts.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.